In this exercise, we'll write a small game, I guess the secret number game. The focus is not on pointers and references, but instead the exercise will be a bit of a recap and a bit of an exercise for loops and also the random number generator. We'll get the sort of output when we run the program, guess my secret number. The number is between 1 and 50. Now, of course, you can change that to be between 1 and 100, for example, or 1 and 20 and so on. I prefer between 1 and 50, just based on testing, and of course your output doesn't have to be exactly like this. For example, I have your guess for try number 1 is, and then I can enter some value, so I'll enter 25 for example. Then it says too low, so in other words my guess was too low there. Please try again. I'll enter something like 30. Now it's too high. Please try again, so I enter something like 28. And of course now we know this is going to be 29. From this example we can see that if we do not guess correctly, that it will either display that your guess is too high or too low, and then of course you have to try again. In the case where you do guess correctly, then it has to display that you guessed correctly or you are correct or something like that. And then I also display how many tries it took for me to guess the number, so in other words you have to keep track of the amount of tries. You got it in 4 tries. And then this end of program is just a debug message that I display for myself. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Alright, so this is the game that I want you to try and build as an exercise. You have to guess between 2 values, so 1 and 50 for example. And then again your output can be however you want, but this is my example. If you guess incorrectly, it has to display either it's too low or too high. And if you guess correctly, then it has to specify that and how many tries it took for you to guess the number correctly. Go ahead, try and build this game, and when we come back I'll show you my solution. Let's look at my example, my solution here. I'm going to include the C standard library for the random function and then also the C time header for the time function. Then if I scroll down to the main function, you'll see we enter this game loop. We don't have all of the code in the main function. Let's say we want to extend this game later on, then of course we're going to break certain things into separate functions such as input validation and so forth. You have the void game loop function. I declare 3 integers, secret number, guess and tries. Then I see the random number generator right here. Okay, pass in time, null pointer, and I'm going to cast that to an unsigned integer right here, so we don't have any silly or annoying warnings show up. Then I generate a random number between 1 and 50 using this expression right here, and I assign the result to the secret number. And then I'm going to print out the string literal, guess my secret number. The number is between 1 and 50. Then we enter a do while loop. In the do while loop, I go and print out your guess for try, and then I do this pound or hashtag character. If you are familiar with Twitter, that means number in this game here. So your guess for try number 1 is, because I'm going to take tries, which will be initialized to 0, and I increment that. Now of course you can specify that explicitly to be 0 if you want to be explicit there, and then is, and then I do cin guess. Right, so I enter the guess from the keyboard and then I do a few checks. If the guess is greater than secret number, which again secret number is generated using the random number generator. Alright, so if the guess that was entered by the player is greater than the generated secret number, we do console output too high, please try again. Otherwise, if the guess is less than the secret number, we do too low, please try again. Otherwise, there's only one case left, the case where the player guessed correctly. Because of that, I print out you guessed correctly, you got it in so many tries. I print out the string tries, end line, and this while loop is going to repeat while the guess is not equal to the secret number. We can build and run and play the game now, so I'll enter 25 for the first try. It's too high, let's try 15. That's too low, so I'll do 20. That was too low, so I enter 20, and that is actually correct, and I got it in 3 tries. Again, your output does not have to be in the exact same format, but this was my example, so I hope you found this interesting. You can continue to add more to this game, so for example you can add difficulty, where the player can choose what difficulty they want to play the game. For example, the player can enter the character E for easy, lowercase or uppercase, N for normal or H for hard. Then based on the difficulty chosen by the player, you can maybe increase the value range, so instead of doing 1 to 20 or 1 to 50, if the player chooses hard, you can do 1 to 100 for example, and or you can change the number of tries allowed. If the player chooses easy, you can give them 10 tries for example. For normal, you can give the player 7 tries, and for hard, you can give the player 5 tries for example. You can also do input validation to check the number, in other words the guess that the player enters, is within the given range. So again, there's a lot that you can do to extend this game, and I encourage you to do that as an exercise. But that is going to wrap up this exercise. I'll see you next time.